have the basics in general. There's no good way of starting people on programming. If somebody asks you, I would like to start learning how to program, how should I go about doing it? You have to say, well, first you have to pick a language. So, do you want Python, or Ruby, or C? I mean, there's tons of different choices there. And then once you've done choosing an actual language, there's a whole giant tool chain you have to end up installing and making choices again. You can go with Emacs, or Vim, or Eclipse, or even Visual Studio if there's nothing else better to use. But the point is that every single one of these choices is yet another place for a beginning programmer to stumble. It's not really that any of these are any better or worse than each other, but the fact is that by making those choices, people will say, this is too hard, I'm giving up. And so the beauty of BASIC is that it was entirely self-contained, and there was no crazy tons of tools. You were able to get right in there and start programming in a very simple way. And so, what do we do about this problem? That's where Y came in. So, Y invented Hackety as a means. Hackety is one of the logos of Happy Mouse. I don't know if you guys have seen the Hackety Twitter account has the logo. Happy Mouse is the fan saying, stop all this madness. And so, basically, Hackety is sort of like an IDE in the sense that it's a simple program, you install it, and then when you open it up, it gives you an environment with which to program. You have all the tools you need, and it walks you through learning how to program within that single environment. So it loses all the choices end up being bad for beginners. So that's awesome. And Y collected what he termed 50 of his closest friends to sort of do a closed beta on this project. And he told everybody this was going to happen, announced it, he selected these 50 people, and then they all sort of went away and did their own thing in private. There's no public releases. It wasn't really talked about that much outside of this small group of people. And we developed it over the course of time. And so, one of the other things that he decided while he was building Hackety, obviously to be accessible to beginners, it had to be cross-platform. So it has to run on Windows, Mac, and Linux, all three. And so, similar to the way that PGH pulls Rails out of Basecamp, Y pulls Shoes out of Hackety. And so he sort of split the project into two. So you have a generic GUI framework that would run on all the platforms equally, and then Hackety became a Shoes application. Also, the programs you write in Hackety can be Shoes applications. You can get full GUI capabilities within Hackety itself. And so that's sort of the dual nature of the two projects that are sort of symbiotic. Hackety needs Shoes to live, and Hackety is Shoes' biggest championing application. That is what we can build as a toolkit. For anything that we try to do GUI programming in general, know that it really sucks. And especially if you're trying to do cross-platform GUI programming, it's even worse. And so Shoes made it incredibly simple for this to be done. So that's all good and awesome, and it's great. But the projects themselves are a little bit of trouble. Basically, Y just dropped all this stuff on us. We had no guiding light to show us how everything works and go through all of this. And so initially there were about 50 people that were interested in making Shoes. Now there's about 5 of the hardcore people that are left. I had 2 people offer to help me with Hackety, and then 2 more later. All of them have completely dropped away. And so I think it would be a really big shame for both of these projects to be completely lost. So even though I work 70 hours a week on Cloud Battle, when I start up at night, I'm hacking away on Shoes and Hackety. So part of the problem with this is that at the same time that all this stuff is dropped, when I investigated Hackety, it has needed the latest version of Shoes to actually run. So there's Shoes 2 was the last public release of Shoes, and it went out and used it, and that was cool. But Hackety needs Shoes 3. Shoes 3 was not finished because while he was developing all of this, he was able to do this in tandem. And so I was left in a really uncomfortable position where you can't run Hackety on the only public available release of Shoes. And so I decided to sort of put a little bit of hold on developing Hackety further in order to get the Shoes project as Shoes 3. And so that way, with Shoes 3, Hackety will be able to continue being a good project, really need this latest Shoes release. So that's the first problem. Second problem is with Shoes, because because it's trying to be as cross-platform as possible, it supports macOS 9. macOS 9 means that we need Carbon, so it's already Carbon on Cocoa. macOS 10.6 was the first release of macOS 10 to cut Carbon out of its period. So all these awkward timelines sort of converge just the wrong way to keep this, sort of farther down into the limelight. And so I can't even actually build shoes on my MacBook, which is sort of funny, and that's what I've been working on over the last 2 weeks or so, is getting all those dependencies and getting all that stuff worked out, because building software is horrible, especially when you're building C with Ruby and GUI stuff and toolkits and all these different things. And so that's sort of where the project is why all these people dropped off, because we don't have something to say here. Either way, it all works. So what I'm going to do essentially is show you guys the stuff that's in Shoes 2, and then if anybody has a Linux computer on them, we can actually play with Hackety, because it works great on Linux. I have a brief about binary up, but I played away all this meat. And then I forgot to actually put Linux on my MacBook so I could show it to you guys, because it's so close to getting it to actually work. You have to compile and not run properly. So that's sort of where this is laid off. If you're interested, you can find out Hackety itself on GitHub, and there's also hackety.heroku.com. And I'm working on the documentation to get somebody completely up to speed from nothing. But part of that is the problem is I'm not in that place. So I've worked with some people already to get that documentation going. But there's a large amount of stuff that can be done, sort of low-hanging fruit that I can't do all on my own, or at least will be done for a much longer time frame. And a little bit of help will be awesome. So the examples, if anybody's interested, you can run Shoes 2 on your computer. It's super awesome and stable. So if you want to see the examples that I'm going to show you, I actually made a GitHub project called Shoes Example. So if you want to, I typed this out from memory, and so it's definitely Shoes Example.git, but I can't ever remember if the public is just git clone with HTTP or if it's the git //URL. But regardless, because this is a web browser, I keep finding Shoes _example. You can clone and get this code, and I'm about to show you like the sort of play along. And if anybody is doing that, you can get Shoes 2 by going to github.com/shoes/shoes. And then there's this download link. And this may be Shoes 2 if you want it for Linux, or if you want it built for Mac. And so everybody has Mac in the room. I'm going to play with this. You probably want Shoes 2 guys to be oh, you have one. We'll feel that after the sort of example. We'll play with Hackety. It's Shoes period. So it can be compiled on this is Shoes 2. So it's like a binary and it works. The problem is not even that it doesn't run on 10.6, it's that it doesn't compile on 10.6, because 10.6 removed Carbon and made 64-bit compilations default, and I need to build 32-bit with Carbon. And so I'm still working on the rate file. Again, with that Ruby thing, the rate file is very meta programming rate file that's 400 lines long. So I'm sort of slogging through that and stuff. So this is like a pre-built binary that you can just run, this sort of file. So on 10.6, you can come about that already done here. So this is Shoes 2, and it works completely. Yeah. This example is built off of, you guys have heard of Railsbridge, the organization that sort of, I don't want to say that they're going against 37 signals, because that would be wrong, but basically, they're about having an inclusive, friendly Rails community of developers, and they sort of advertise that in a way that makes you sort of think that's where they're going, But one of the women who works at Railsbridge, or works with them, does work with them, Sarah Mine. There's an article a little while ago that's called Teaching Ruby to 16-year-old Girls, or high school girls. And so this is an example that she used, and I'm sort of going to go through to show you guys what Shoes is all about. I already know Ruby, but to show you how easy it is to develop a GUI app in Ruby with Shoes. I'm sort of going to walk through those steps. That's the source of where I got